Welcome back. The chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Senator Jack Reed, says he will hold off on marking up this year's National Defense Authorization Act. The markups will happen in July now, and the Senate will use the extra time to consider nominees for some of the top posts in the Defense Department. Roger Zakheim is director of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library Foundation and Institute. He's former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. Roger, welcome. Thanks for coming on the program. This delay of the NDAA, there's a lot of reasons for it. Senator Reed said one of the reasons is the delay in the release of the budget request from the Biden administration. This is potentially good news, bad news, though, isn't it, if they are able to move some of these nominees in the meantime?
Yeah. The Armed Services Committees can't do their work with a skinny budget. They need the fat budget with all the details. And as you noted, that's coming later in the year. Senator Reed, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, said, okay, well, I'm not going to go ahead and sit around here and wait for the budget. We're going to move on the almost 20 nominees that are pending before his committee.
With 20 nominees stacked up, the potential to get those through before they have to go to the NDAA is pretty great, though. It sounds like there's a lot of time. May, June, July is 2 months, and a decent amount of work time that the senators are actually in Washington. What's your sense of how quickly some of those nominees could move through, given the people that the administration has selected and the amount of time that's available between now and July when they might start to mark up the NDAA?
Well, as you know, getting a nomination through the Senate begins in the Senate Armed Services Committee, but it does not end there. And sure, having that time means the committee can do its work. There are a lot of people nominated that will be familiar to the committee. Those who have served in the Obama administration, from Mike McCord to Mike Brown to Christine Wormuth and others, Frank Kendall as well. But it also has to go through the full chamber. And no matter how much time you put devoted to nominees, there are many other considerations that have to be taken into account that have nothing to do with the Senate Armed Services Committee or the Pentagon, the infrastructure bill, other spending measures that President Biden recently addressed during his joint session to the Congress. Those things will suck up time on the Senate floor, and it could be that the Senate Armed Services Committee gets everything out of committee and it waits at the Senate chamber door.
But what I hear you saying unintentionally, so I apologize if I'm reading too much between the lines, but given the fact that we don't start an NDAA till July, all of those other issues that you outlined, other things that may happen between now and the fall that the Senate would have to deal with that we don't know anything about now, it strikes me we're looking at another October, November, December timeline to see what a final policy bill looks like, because we haven't even talked about your former committee, the House Armed Services Committee, and their role in getting a bill out and then conference. Is that timeline realistic, or am I too pessimistic?
No, I think that's realistic. I mean, as you know, even when the Armed Services Committees complete their work in the May-June timeframe, those measures don't get done till September at the earliest. So the fact that the Armed Services Committees are not going to begin their work until July doesn't necessarily mean they'll be able to complete their work by the end of September, the end of the fiscal year. The likelihood is that it's going to go deeper into calendar year 2021. And, you know, it's possible that the Armed Services Committees can get their measures to the floor of each chamber and get them voted on. The real trick in getting the authorization bills passed is that conference report. There are always thorny issues, and that is what ultimately creates delays in each chamber adopting the conference report.
Do we have a sense yet, Roger, about what the thorny issues could be this year that will drive the conference negotiations among the four sides, House Chairman Ranking and Senate Chairman Ranking Member?
Well, I had a chance to chat with Chairman Adam Smith not too long ago. The Reagan Institute will host an event soon with Senator Reed. My sense is there'll be debate over the nuclear triad and specifically the GBSD program, the ICBM replacement program. That's a hot issue. The F-35 is something that Chairman Smith consistently points to as something he'd like to move on. And then there's going to be discussions over what the administration refers to as legacy systems. This is what they reference in the interim national security guidance. The administration would like to see legacy systems pulled out of the military Question is whether or not the Congress will play along. Those are three major issues that for sure will suck up a lot of time and energy and be debated as the defense authorization bill goes through each chamber.
Chairman Smith made some headlines at your event, Roger, when he talked to you about the F-35. What was your takeaway from his comments? What he said was, was on the record, obviously. It's out there for people to see. But what was your interpretation of what he had to say about the future of that program?
Well, Chairman Smith has been consistent on this point. He has concerns about the cost of the F-35 and its utility as we think about the future of warfare. Our exchange really focused on, okay, if you want to have less F-35s, what will you replace it with? My consistent argument with him and others is if you want to move from something we have in hand today, a military platform, a fifth-generation fighter that works for us today, to something else, what is that something else? Does it exist for the military to actually use, or is it something that only exists on a PowerPoint slide? And that's kind of where our conversation got somewhat colorful.
Roger Zakheim, thanks very much as always. Great to have you back in the program.
Thank you.